The black dog that never left the corner. This story is a memory passed down through generations. It was first told by my sister's grandmother, something she heard as a child from her own mother. It happened nearly a century ago, back when our great-grandparents were still living in their small village in China. Back then, our great-grandfather had a relative named Mr. Xia who lived nearby. The two families were close. Mr. Xia's family had a female dog that gave birth to only one puppy, a strange thing in itself. The pup was pitch black from nose to tail, so they named it Muk, which means ink in Vietnamese. But this wasn't just any puppy. From the very beginning, something about Muk was off. Normally, newborn puppies can't see, can't walk, and just stay curled up beside their mother. But Muk, just a few days old, somehow managed to crawl out of the nest. Every time the mother dog brought him back, he'd wiggle his way back to one particular corner of the house, right under an old wooden horse statue. No matter how many times he was moved, Muk kept returning to that same spot. As he grew up, the strange behavior didn't stop. Unlike most dogs that love to run around, bark, or play, Muk never left the house. He stayed close to the corner beneath the wooden horse, barely stepping outside the yard. He was calm, obedient, and almost too well behaved. He never bit anything, never barked unnecessarily. But here's the part that really unsettled people. Every time Mr. Xia entered the room, Muk would rush to that corner and start scratching at the floor, violently, like he was guarding something no one else could see. And if any strangers got too close, he would growl low, baring his teeth, not wildly, but with a cold, deliberate intensity, like a soldier at his post. The Xia family treated Muk like a beloved family member. Despite his odd behavior, or maybe because of it, they were deeply attached to him. And strangely, Muk never got sick. He grew up strong and healthy, never once falling ill. Then one day, Mr. and Mrs. Xia had to leave town for several days on business. That same afternoon, only a few of Mr. Xia's grandchildren and 2 or 3 of his children were at home. Suddenly, a monk from the village temple happened to pass by the Xia family's house. The monk didn't just walk past. He stopped right in front of the house and stood there, staring at it for a long time. The children playing nearby noticed him, and one of them asked, "Is Mr. Xia home? Are your parents home?" The kids replied, "No, our grandparents are out on a trip. They'll be back this evening." But the monk didn't move. Instead of leaving after hearing that, he kept staring at the house. After a while, he quietly walked inside. The kids were shocked. Why would the monk ignore their answer and just enter the house like that? Inside, some of Mr. Xia's children were sitting quietly. Usually, if a stranger entered, Muk, the black dog, would bark fiercely. But this time, Muk stayed lying right in that usual corner under the wooden horse statue, just watching the monk. The children asked the monk, "Is there something wrong, sir?" But the monk didn't answer them. Instead, he walked straight to the wooden horse and sat down. Then, looking at Muk, he said something chilling. "This dog has been guarding a secret for so long. Now it's time for him to move on." With that, the monk stood up, quietly left the house, and returned to the temple. Mr. Xia's children and grandchildren were left confused. Why did the monk say that? Why didn't he speak to any of them? Why did he talk only to the dog and then leave? That evening, when Mr. and Mrs. Xia returned home, Muk came out to greet them, wagging his tail happily. But just moments later, the dog suddenly collapsed and died right there. This shocked the family. Muk had been healthy, lively, and loving. He had just been happy to see his owners again. Then suddenly, he was gone. Mr. Xia was heartbroken. He asked the children, "Did you feed him anything strange? Did something happen to him?" Then the children remembered what had happened that afternoon with the monk. They told Mr. Xia everything. Not knowing what else to do, Mr. Xia decided to keep the dog's body inside the house for the night. No burial yet. He wanted to visit the temple himself and ask the monk why he had said those strange words. The next day, Mr. Xia went up to the temple. The monk was sitting quietly, chanting prayers. When Mr. Xia arrived, the monk stopped and invited him in. The monk told him, "I am praying for your mother's soul. She has just passed on." Hearing this, Mr. Xia sat down quietly, his heart heavy, and said, The old man, Xia, looked confused and asked the monk, "But what do you mean?" "My mother passed away more than 2 years ago. She's been gone a long time. You must be mistaken." The monk calmly replied, "Please sit down. Let me explain." Xia, still disturbed, said, I came here to ask you something important. Earlier today, you came to my house and spoke to my dog. It was perfectly healthy, happy even, and now it's dead. Just dropped dead right after you left. I need to know what happened. The monk nodded and said softly, Yes, I know. Your mother passed more than 2 years ago, and if I'm not wrong, a few months after she died, your dog gave birth, didn't it? And there was only one puppy? Xia was startled. Yes, that's right. About 3 months after my mother passed, our dog gave birth to a single pup. We called her Mook. The monk's eyes darkened. That wasn't just a dog, he said. That was your mother, reincarnated. Xia stared at him, frozen. You see, the monk continued, when your mother was still alive, she buried a pot of gold beneath the wooden horse statue in your house. Right in the corner, under its legs. But she died suddenly, from illness, before she could tell anyone. Her spirit couldn't rest, so she was reborn as that dog, tasked with guarding what she left behind. She couldn't leave until someone recognized the truth. That's why she stayed in that exact spot. That's why she never left the house. The monk paused, then asked, Tell me, did the dog ever behave strangely? Xia began to recall. Yes, he said quietly. Yes, ever since she was born. Just 2 or 3 days in, she crawled away from the mother and went straight to that corner beneath the horse statue. She refused to sleep anywhere else. Even as she grew up, she never roamed. At most, she wandered into the yard, but always returned to that one spot. And every time someone got close, she'd bark furiously. Every time I came near, she'd scratch at the ground. Right there. The monk nodded. She was trying to tell you. She was guarding what was hers. Today, I happened to walk past and sensed it. That's why I entered your home and spoke to her. I told her she had done enough, that she could go now. The monk stood, his voice solemn. If you hadn't come to see me today, he said, I would have gone back to your house tomorrow to explain. But now that you understand, go home, bury her properly, offer her a small ritual, but do not, under any circumstances, tell this story to anyone else. And with that, the monk turned and left. When he came back, Mr. Xia called my great-grandfather over to help bury Khan Muk. But before they did, he asked everyone to dig at the corner of the house, right under the wooden horse statue, the very spot where Khan Muk had always stayed. As they dug deeper, the earth gave way to an old clay jar buried quite deep. When they opened it, everyone was shocked to find old gold bars inside, carefully wrapped in faded silk cloth. There was no doubt. The monk's words were true. Kanmuk was actually Mr. Xia's mother's spirit, returned to guard the family treasure she hadn't passed on before she died. After that, my grandmother, who witnessed this as a child and heard it clearly from my great-grandfather, always showed a special kindness to dogs and cats. She often told us, some beings don't just appear around us by chance. Maybe they're loved ones coming back because something is left unfinished. From then on, she kept a gentle respect for even the smallest creatures. This was the first story in my family's memory, a strange tale that still sends chills down your spine whenever you remember it.